This could be the longest group ever, simply because 1HP he does enjoy his swarm hosts, especially against even against a Terran player. So if any one of these Terrans decide to actually go mech, which I'm not sure if many of them do, I'm pretty sure BCX is almost completely strictly a bio player. I don't think I've ever seen him play mech. So maybe we won't have to deal with getting into swarm hosts, at least for the first couple of series. We are in game number 1 here, and spawning up in the top right in pink from CTL Team 6 is our Zerg player. It is 1 HP for the win.
And to the bottom left of Deadwing, it is spawning in as the best coloured Terran player. It is BCX for Team Besloths. Oxford.
Oxford? Okay. Yeah. The all-in map. I see these things now. That does actually exist.
It's a real place.
I don't know. I mean, these two players, obviously, they had to come out of the European region. They are starting off with our groups playing each other, so we're going to get rid of one of them, at least into the lower bracket portion of this. But in this group, I mean, both of these players have a pretty good chance of getting out, I would say. Canary he's always his own special breed of a player, so in any sort of best of series, he's definitely a threat. But BCX, he was for a long time, I guess a long time in sense of the CTL kind of timeline. He's been really, really powerful of late, but he's been kind of falling off, so I'm not sure if that's still a case. But he does have a good chance to get out of this group at least. And hoping to see a few more Terran into the round of 8 at least. Sorry, 1 HP, but we already have, what, 3 or 4 Zergs, I think, so...
I don't know. I'll have a look. I know I've got a ZVZ, Pisos in the round of 8, so that's 3, and I think there's a 4th somewhere as well. I'm just loading it. Roxas, oh yeah, that guy, yeah, he made it through.
There are already 4 Zergs. There's 1 Terran currently. There's going to be 1 Terran from this group since there are 3, and... And there's the lone Protoss representative. He's been the only Protoss since the round of 16 started. So he's still in it as well, which is nice to see. Protoss are pretty endangered in the CTL, so it's good to see. It's good to see Doohickey actually doing well in this series.
Yeah.
But, to open us up, we did have a CC first from BCX. So I mean, a best of 3 series starting off the matches. It's not too much of a surprise, especially on a map like Deadwing, but following up double gas. What do you have thoughts on what B6 is planning to do here? Or is this what he normally does?
I don't think I've seen him go CC first normally, but he does like the one racks gasless type style. He's kind of like an old school player in that regard, but he does mix in some of the new Hellbat stuff as well. And with the gas first, this is one of 3 transitions off of this opening. You could get like the 3rd CC and pretend you're bomber. You could get a couple more racks or the gas. So with the gas this fast, we're going to be seeing a very fast factory and probably a fast starport as well.
Yeah. And already a pretty good number of Lings coming out here. 6 Lings from 1 HP. I mean, that's probably just expecting to see a Reaper. That's not going to be the case. And obviously 1 HP with these cross spawns, he's not going to see anything for a while. Well, I thought he drone scattered. I swear I saw a drone come out. I think he may have been just looking around his own base trying to find if there was any sort of bunker going down or any sort of proxy racks going down. Just wanted to make sure that wasn't going to be the case here. So he hasn't actually seen what's going on at all on the other side of the map, so B6 has to be pretty happy at least to open up with this completely unscattered CC first, not to mention the CC was on the low ground even. Did he completely skip units as well? Yeah, he did. Just immediately going to a reactor.
I mean, he's defending his natural with a mule right now, so there's that. There will be a bunker and a couple of marines soon, but these Lings might be able to get some damage done, actually. I mean, there's going to be 2 marines against 6 Lings, and this bunker, it's getting close to finish, but the Zerglings are already here in the natural.
I'm curious if 1HP is going to see the bunker and immediately walk away, or if he's going to keep going for this. He does see there's only a couple of marines there. BCX does have to pull back the mule, which is a little bit annoying. It's going to lose a little bit of mine time, maybe actually lose a full trip on that, so a little bit of worth out of these Lings. They're going to be annoying and picking off his fees where they can and getting 1 already. So even that alone is enough of a victory here for 1HP here early on. But again, with this command center first, and actually a 2nd factory has followed up a 3rd factory even as well. Oh, no. So is this just going to be a ton of Hellions coming out or what?
Let's hope it's a ton of Hellions, not a mech transition. Because if it's a mech transition, you guys can just like go order pizza and stuff. Because everyone knows 1 HP loves Swarm Host even when it's not against mech. I've never seen BCX go mech. I've played him 7 times, and I've never seen mech. I've actually never even seen tanks, I don't think, so this is completely new for me. I've never seen this one before, and he's got... This might be mass Blue Flame Hellions, actually. I don't think it's going to be mech. There's a second reactor coming down on this barracks here, and we do have a tech lab coming down, a second tech lab now as well, so I think this is going to be Blue Flame and a bunch of Hellions.
Yeah, he's actually pulled one SCV out of each one of his gases, so if this were going to be a mech transition, it's going to be extremely late, but 1 HP, he does have an Overlord that has seen absolutely everything, so he knows exactly what's going to be coming his way. Yeah, you don't necessarily see the units that are popping out of these factories, but seeing 2 factories with reactors, seeing another factory with a tech lab, there's really nothing else that's gonna be. I'm not sure. Like in response to this, I gotta assume he's gonna be walling off as tight as he possibly can, where he can. I'm curious if he's gonna actually try and wall off at his this third ramp here, or if he's gonna try and actually just contain in his own natural. But with that third hatchery finished up, all he has right now are 3 queens out here. They do have a decent amount of energy, so they can transfuse, but waiting for some spine crawlers because. I don't know, without any spine crawlers to help this out, and without a roach warrant as well right now, he's gone directly into lair. He's got nothing to really defend against this.
Yeah, I'm getting kind of nervous for 1 HP here. He's got 3 queens. He's lucky that there isn't an armory behind this obese... Oh my god, as I say that, there's the armory. So BCX is going to be a little more passive with the Italians for a minute or so, but he's going to have a very powerful Blue Flame Hellbat timing with probably approaching 15 Hellbats at around the 10-minute mark, and there is no sign of a Roach Warren anywhere, but he has gone missile attacks on his evolution chambers, so at least his queens will do like 1 extra damage, I guess.
Yeah, the problem right now is the Hellions are already here, the Blue Flame is already finished, they're already doing a pretty good amount of damage. He hasn't even bothered turning them into Hellbats, not that he can yet. The armory is still a few seconds away from finishing up. Transfuses have gone down, but now there's nothing but Lings. The Lings are going to try and trade against this, but they're not going to trade too well, but the Queens are holding their own for sure. I don't think he hasn't actually lost a single Queen just yet. We already have an Infestation Pit that has come down. So 1 HP, he's saving his gas. That's why he hasn't made a Roach Warren right now. He's just going directly for the Swarm Host, I suppose, and he wants to defend with that. And if he's able to get up a few in Swarm Host, actually get them set up where he wants them to be set up, I don't know how well these Hellions are going to be able to trade against that. We do have some Thors being produced back home by BCX. There's nothing else really being made by him. He's not making any tanks just yet. He's still got nothing but just a ton of Hellions right now, up to... what is this? Where is the number? 13 Hellions right now? Yeah. And those can be Hellbats if he decides to turn them over. He just needs to actually turn them over.
Well, they do actually have a pretty nice use against Locusts in their Hellion mode. But we do see them turning into Hellbats now, and they will be pushing up this ramp very aggressively. And 4 Queens, I don't think that's going to help out. There's a few Marines with Stim, but I think they're kind of a token gesture at this stage. It's the Hellbats that 1 hit point is worried about. And all these drones are going to get evaporated if he's not careful. The Ling counterattack does come from the back, but half the Lings just got completely annihilated.
These Hellbats are just not dying right now. We do have 7 Roaches in production, but nothing else really is being produced right now by 1 HP, but there's still so many Queens, and with the Transfuses, they're doing pretty well, and so far, only 5 drones have actually gone down here. The Hellbats are just too slow to catch up with the drones as they are running away. So BCX has really lost most everything that he has in 1 HP. He's got to be just fine right now. He still has 72 workers. He's got this transition going already. He's already started +2/+2 on the other side of the map. The third base is not really being able to be taken here by B6 just yet. There was an overload spreading creep there. He's got some mines. He's got a single Thor, and he's got a couple Marines, but beyond that, he doesn't really have much in the way of an army anymore. He's lost 90% of it on the other side of the map, and there's Roaches moving across here for 1 HP. Luckily, there's not too many of them, but this still could do pretty good amount of damage.
Yeah, I'm getting pretty worried for BCX here, I think. I mean, these Widow Mines are going to be uninhibited, and they're going to force the retreat there, but 1 hit point, he can do whatever he wants right now. He has the freedom, he's droning up to nearly 80, he's adding more Swarm Hosts, great. He's got the Spire, I believe, in the back there as well, so we will be seeing some kind of a Muta Swarm Host play. I wonder if BCX thinks he's against mech.
Well, kind of. I don't really know. This is such a strange like building setup right now for BCX. He's got these 3 factories still, but right now all he's doing is producing bio units and some Thors and there's a ton of Widow Mines. He's got a 4th command center coming up. The problem right now for BCX is his upgrades are just so ungodly far behind right now. He just has now started +1 attack. He's got another engineering bay coming down, but 1 HP is going to be finishing up 2-2 here momentarily. These Swarm Hosts, they're not going to do, they won't be the most effective units going up against a bunch of bio forces, but still, it's going to be an extreme annoyance here for BCX to have to deal with, and I'm not sure what he's going to be able to do against this.
I mean, the bunch of bioforces you describe right now is, if being accurate, it's 10 Marines and 2 Hellbats. And these Marines, half of them have gone on a run-by, whilst the Hellbats are dropping in the 4th and dropping in the main at the same time, and they are getting some damage done, but BCX is buying time for his choice of army composition to build up, but it's very peculiar. It's mostly Widow Mines. He is getting a few Marines out here and there, but just waiting for this production to kick in, I guess.
Almost a huge just clump of drones went down there in the main base, but they did take quite a shot there, but they did get cleaned up. All the Hellbats did get cleaned up by a couple of Swarmhouse that have popped out. Swarmhouse count now, we're up to 20 already. BCX is up to he is producing 7 Marines at a time, and this opener was just so strange, but it's obviously, it has to have been tailored just to 1 HP, because BCX knows that his opponent plays with Swarmhost. He knows that's what he has to deal with, so he's going to be starting to drop all over the place now, try to spread his opponent apart, and without a lot of static defenses, it's going to do a pretty good job. There's 4 mines in this drop about to come into the 4th base here that should get a few worker kills. At the very least, it's going to pull some of the army back, perhaps. Maybe get a couple of Swarm Hosts attacked. I don't know. Not really much is going to happen from this. He's going to pick all those mines up once again. Same time, there's another drop going down into the 3rd base that's killed off 11 drones. So B6 is doing a good job of just dropping everywhere he possibly can, keeping his opponents, since he does have such a stationary army, trying to move back and forth and defend the entire game.
Yeah, 1 hit point really needs to start using that Spire. He's got the gas for 16 meters. He could do with 16 meters right now, but he decided 16 drones are more important than grabbing the 3-3 upgrades. But these drops are going to completely tear him apart. Where are those Widow Mines? They're just all sat in the main, chilling nothing. There's no mining right now in the main base for BCX. There's barely any mining in the 3rd base. The 4th base got ravaged earlier. Yeah, these Swarm Hosts are moving up aggressively, but there's still, I think, like Infinity Widow Mines at the front here.
He even snipes. Well, it doesn't really snipe, but the Widow Mines do take care of the lone. Oh, good God! These Widow Mine shots are just so silly looking. But now BCX is dropping directly on top of this Swarm Host clump. There's 16 set over here. They're going down now. They're about to spew a lot more locusts once again, but with this army directly on top of this, these locusts are extremely powerful, and they're going to kill everything that's available right now. Widow Mines once again doing some work here, and still more and more Swarm Hosts are going down. And how does the main look right now for our Zerg player? He did finally clean up all those Widow Mines in the main. He still has a drop to contend with in the natural base. Both players are playing decently effectively, but these drops are definitely giving BCX a bit of an advantage considering how he started this game.
Yeah, BCX I think has a definite lead right now. I think given the immobility of 1 hit point's army and the way that BCX has pinned him back so effectively with basically 12 supply at this stage, it's like a drop, 1 drop, that's it. I mean, I'd like to see like a ninja base or something, because what's 1 hit point going to do about like a ninja expansion right now, just having mules dropped on it? That's going to be furthering BCX's lead here. And 1 hit point's position, he made this Spire. I still don't know why we're not seeing muses coming out. Finally, just now we got seeing 16 muses and +1, but we could have seen those 5 minutes ago, and I think they would have helped out immensely.
There's another drop is coming in. It's coming for the 5th hatchery. There isn't really anything over here but the hatch itself. There's nothing but Marines in a single mine in this drop, so this hatchery is going to take a while to actually die off. At the same time, he's trying to drop over in the 3rd base, just continually pulling his opponent apart in these mines that are the mines are actually the defense against the Locust right now. It's all it's really defending. It's all the AoE that BCX has. Beyond that, he's got a couple of Thors and a lot of Marines. That's pretty much the extent of his army right now. He's just jumping between every single base that he can. The Mitas are out now somewhere. There they are. They're flying and chasing his Medivac, so they're going to take that out and finally clean up this drop, which this could start pulling into the advantage of our Zerg player finally, now that he has a little bit of map control with these mutas coming out.
Yeah, and the locusts I mentioned now are 3/3, so they will have the DPS of effectively 3/3 Hydralisks, which is a scary unit to go up against, especially when the Hydras are free. So, one hit point I think needs a few more minutes to stabilize here and get those upgrades, make some nice trades with those, because he's still down on the bank, even though both players are maxed out. BCX can lose his entire army and replace it, and with a drop like this, he might well lose his entire army. He's going to definitely get this base, though.
The Swarmhouse are being forced to come back here for 1 HP. He's going to use those to defend, and once those locusts come out and towards this army, B6 is going to have to get out of here. But with all of these mutas, the muta's actually taking a really big shot from Widow Mines there. He will have to get out of here. He's got the drop on the other side. The Thor is actually back here helping to defend against this, but nice control from 1 HP. He's trying to take care of that Thor, but isn't quite able to get it. And the Thor still alive, getting a ton of shots off on these mutas. These mutas are all so low, and he's lost so many of those mutas as well. And once again, a base has been ransacked. The drones are waiting and not actually doing any mining. The worker count are now 80 to 58 in favor of the Terran player. A Terran having 80 SCVs is a frightening prospect, but only sitting on 4 actual bases. I mean, there's 36 SCVs that are over here at this 4th base for BCX, so he needs to get rid of some of these or start making some more command centers so he can actually just trade a lot of SCVs off and just start muling everything, or at least take some more bases and get some more gas economy or something to start building that bank, but do it with less SCVs so you can have a bigger army.
Yeah, like right now I think we could see BCX throw down even more command centers than this and throw away probably half of his SCVs and just add another 40 army supply. He's mining incredibly inefficiently right now. 34, like you said, on the 4th base. Also 10 in the natural on the 1 mineral patch there. Now there's none there. They're all idols. So BCX is actually on 2 mining bases right now. He really needs to take extra bases, and we can see this like in the banks of both players are beginning to even out here, so 1 hit point is starting to stabilize, even though his 5th base just got sniped by this rogue squad of Marines.
Yeah, the upgrades are starting to finish up here for BCX. He's got +3 attack, about halfway finished. His +2 armor is about halfway finished as well. So that's been a bit of a problem for him. He did lose quite a bit of his army force over at this 3rd base here. The mutas cleaned up a few medevacs as well. Luckily for BCX, he did take care of that 5th hatchery, but at this point he must be killing off a little bit more than that. And these swarm hosts, they do still remain. There's still so many swarm hosts that are actually alive, so this is still something very, very difficult for B6 to deal with. He's picking up his entire army and kind of just running away right now, realizing he doesn't want to be attacking that, and he's going to leave it up to the Widow Mines to continue doing their job, and they are doing a pretty good job of defending right now. These Widow Mines have to have so many kills on them.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why BCX hasn't chosen to move out yet. Whenever I've played him against him and we've gotten to the late game, he very much likes just to turtle up, and yeah, he's making these planetaries actually towards the pocket area, I guess, of these 5 bases. So getting a nice focal point to defend there, but I'm wondering what BCX's next step is. I mean, he's taken this 5th base. He's got like that's some turrets there as well, I suppose. But where do you go from here? I mean, all he's doing is just building Marines, Thors, and Mines and Medevacs, but is there not a next step? Battle Cruisers, Ravens?
Yeah, I'm not sure what his next step is going to be. I guess his next step is killing his opponent, because he's got a double drop going on in 2 different locations. He's taking out the 5th hatchery. He's taking out the 3rd hatchery. Roaches are over here trying to defend, but the Roaches, I mean, there are 3/3 Roaches, but they're not going to trade that well against all of these bio units over here. The +3 attack did finish up for BCX. He's 1 drop on the right side is going to be cleaned up by the mutas and roaches, but this drop is still here over on the left, and there's still a decent-sized army back home as well somewhere. There it is. They're all in the 3rd base. A couple Thors and some Marines over there defending against the mutas that were there for a little while, and still all of these swarm hosts for 1 HP. There's 21 of them that aren't really doing anything. He's just he's keeping the mines stationary, I guess, but that's really all that they're doing.
Yeah, it's a lot of supply that's arguably useless right now, and somehow we're seeing that BCX is actually ahead in the units lost tab against someone who's got 21 swarm hosts. This is crazy. Yeah,
Yes.
he's lost 5k less.
I still love the turret the field of turrets over at this fifth base of BCX. The mutas are never going to get into there. Probably needs to add some turrets up onto the high ground, this ledge area up here to fully defend this base, because mutas could swing around and take out the 2 turrets, 3 turrets that are in the mineral line, and then start taking all the SCVs, which honestly wouldn't be that bad for BCX because he still has 32 working over there. These drops are still being a pain for 1 HP. He's trying to deal with it. He's sending all of his mutas over to deal with the single drop. At the same time, there are 4 medivacs over on the right side. They're going to be dropping towards the 5th base, maybe even going for the 4th, I suppose. I guess he just wants to go kill probably the mining base that has the most minerals, I suppose. It's a lot of army that's on this right side of the map here for our Terran player, and 1 HP is completely out of position for this.
Yeah, this has got him caught completely by surprise. All these overlords from 1 hit point that are just kind of idling around his natural main. I think he wishes they'd be a little more spread out right now, because this 5th base is once again going to get sniped off. In the meantime, though, we will be having a counter-attack by 1 hit point towards the group of turrets, and there's a base in there somewhere. I mean, he killed like 5 turrets, but there's still another 20 or so there, so I'm not quite sure what that's served to achieve by 1 hit point there, and I think he will be losing this 5th base as well, and there's also a squad of 4 Marines in the 4th base, once again, at 1 hit point, and the mutas are there to defend, but the 5th base goes down as a result. This Thor is still here backing up this drop, and these Swarm hosts, I don't know, what are they doing?
They would have been useful if it was mech, which was obviously, I think it's exactly what B6 wanted. He wanted to pretend he was going to be going back with that 3 factory opener, force out a bunch of Swarm hosts that are now basically completely useless supply, almost to the point where 1 HP needs to go get rid of them. He needs to go kind of throw them at these Widow Mines, or maybe just walk past the Widow Mines and start using them effectively somewhere else. The drop does get cleaned up finally by all the roaches and all the mutas over here, but that's a lot of lost supply for 1 HP, and his bank is starting to dwindle a little bit, and still 21 Swarm hosts that aren't doing anything right now. Would like to see BCX start adding on some more upgrades, perhaps with his factory units, because he's still sitting on I think +1 attack right now. That's all he has for the mech army. The Swarm hosts have finally moved forward a little bit, but there's still just so many Widow Mines that should be able to deal with these decently well. The mutas are not going to be able to flock in here. Right now, he's just trying to zone out the Widow Mines themselves and let the Locusts take care of those, but still, there's enough of a bioforce behind this that even if those do die, I think BCX could just pick up and run past it and go and drop directly onto the Swarm host and take those out.
Yeah, and with the mutas all following, looking for this medevac on the right side of the map, I think 1 hit point could well lose a lot of these Swarm hosts if he's not careful. BCX, he is picking up a few of his Thors. It looks like he's preparing for some kind of a drop, but maybe just saving those from the Locust there. These Swarm hosts, though, like, I guess they're pinning BCX back, but to what purpose? Like, now that you keep BCX back, what's 1 hit point doing with his money? We just see +3 attack coming down on the Spire, but maybe Broodlords would be an option after this Spire finishes upgrading. Maybe an Ultralisk, just something different. A Nidus network, stick some Swarm hosts in the main. That would be obnoxious.
That would indeed be pretty obnoxious. Right now, BCX, he looks a little flustered. He's not really attacking. He's not doing much of anything. He's trying to take another base to the top of, or kind of north of his turret field over here, but he's not making an army that's going to continue on in this game for much longer. I mean, mutas in enough numbers are so scary. Yeah, there's a lot of turrets over here, but if BCX is just continually unable to move out, 1 HP is going to start taking the entire rest of the map. And if he's able to do that and able to reproduce mutas at will, or anything that he wants at will, BCX is going to have to find a way to actually attack into this cluster of Swarm hosts, take those out, and then start dealing with the mutas themselves.
Looks like BCX is just going to entirely bypass these Swarm hosts and go somewhere else by the looks of things, which to be honest, I quite like. That was working out well so far when like BCX was dropping everywhere, but I think now seeing the mutas out, he kind of got intimidated from dropping. But even when mutas are out, you can still try and send 1 drop as like a decoy and then drop where the mutas are not after that. Wow, speaking of which, all these Marines are on the low ground against these mutas. It might be dangerous.
Yeah, Muta's going to try to flock in here with all the roaches as well, but A little bit of indecisiveness there from 1 HP. He wants to wait for the Roaches to kill off a few more of these Marines, and now he's going to clean up the entire rest of this drop. Or not drop, but army, I should say. There is a drop of Widow Mines that's going to be moving out, I assume, towards the 5th base, but it's going to take a long time to get over there. And at this point, BCX just lost a ton of supply, and a lot of that supply was actually in medevac, so he just lost pretty much the bulk of his army. He's got some Thors left over, which is nice, and he's still making nothing but Marines, but now these Swarm hosts are finally actually being pretty useful, because it's keeping BCX back in his base, because he can't actually go forward and attack anything. Roaches are swinging in towards this 6th base area and taking out some turrets. Planetary is not yet finished, so if these Roaches are able to get on top of the turrets and take out most of those, then the Mutas can swing in and start taking out the Planetary itself, taking out all these SCVs as well. A couple of Widow Mine shots go off on those Roaches, and some Marines are coming up here to clean this out. Widow Mines being placed over at the 6th of 1 HP as well. There's one single Widow Mine left in this medevac that is dropped up on the high ground by the 5th base. It's kind of waiting for it to actually burrow and be useful. Mutas are flying into a bunch of Marines over here, which is a bit of a mistake there by 1 HP. He's going to lose a few of those for absolutely nothing. But still, both players are just trying to find a way to attack the other player. That's really all that's going on right now.
Yeah, I don't think either player is entirely sure about what they should be doing right now. It seems like. I mean, a few Brood Lords from 1 hit point would really help crush through this defensive setup from BCX. And from BCX's point of view, I think maybe just adding, either continually dropping, which is what we're seeing him begin to do now, and just drop everywhere that the army isn't. You can trade away against Roaches if you want, quite easily. But actually, come to think of it, 1 hit point has 28 drones, and he's still maxed out, so his army is absolutely ginormous.
Yeah, that army is pretty ridiculous right now. I mean, granted, 21 Swarm Host, 21 Mutas, and the rest are some Roaches and a few Lings. Now, the Locusts are going to start working at this Planetary, actually, which is going to be working out pretty well. It's a pretty good use for them, because he's going to force a repair on that, on the Planetary with SVs, keep those from mining for a while. Granted, B6 has a really, really massive bank right now. It is, almost 7,000 minerals at this point. It's still just so difficult for B6 to actually get on the map and do anything. He needs to find a way to attack his opponent. Where are those Mutas at? Back home at the 3rd base of 1 HP. Is 1 HP actually going to start transitioning to something else? He's actually got a Baneling Nest coming down. 37-minute Baneling Nest, which is the obvious decision. This Planetary is going to have so many kills.
Yeah. Anything can be made better by adding Banelings, so that's just a fact of Zerg right now. Oh my god, these Mutas. They got dangerously close to those mines.
They did take one shot from a mine, but regeneration, and they do have +3/+1 now, +2 carapaces on the way for the Mutas. Eventually, B6 is kind of in this spot where he's going to be contending with just so many Mutas he can't deal with it anymore, especially upgraded Mutas. He's still only on +2 attacks for the mech army here of BCX. If he starts adding on more Thors, he's going to want to continue upgrading those. Right now, he still only has 1 factory with a tech lab. He still has the 2 factories with the reactors that are just constantly producing Widow Mines. Of course, no Marauders in this competition, which is probably why we saw the Baneling Nest created by 1 HP. He wants to be able to actually trade against the Bioforces. Mutas and Roaches trying to swing into this pretty well-defended area, and Thor's getting some nice shots off on those Mutas. A lot of Roaches going down as well. BCX, he's still holding his own. Both players, that's pretty much the only thing they're doing. They're holding their own. They just can't get any further than that.
Well, 1 hit point during that failed attack at the front, his Locust did kill the Planetary in the 6th base. BCX forgot to repair, and the Planetary, of course, evaporated because Swarm hosts are really down. So that cuts BCX there down to 1 mining base, whereas 1 hit point has decided, you know what, bases are cool, let's take some of those. We've got a couple more coming up on the left side. He's still got this base on the bottom rightish area, but that's kind of bleeding out and vulnerable to drop, so he's not really using that at the moment. And he also still only has like 30 drones, so he doesn't have a use for these bases really, apart from just making sure that BCX doesn't take them.
B6 is going to start trying to just attack with his entire army in 1 location. Swarmos are just crazily out of position right now. They're not going to do anything. Thors are actually caught out in a really rough spot. They're going to get taken out so quickly. Roaches get on top of a couple of those and take out all 3 of the Thors have gone down. Widow Mines are still here, but the surround is quite real for 1 HP. 1 HP is actually finally almost... No, he still hasn't taken a supply lead, but he did take out almost the entire army of his opponent, and BCX is now down to 137 supply, 177 supply. able to remix this 1 HP. He's got 15 roaches and 5 more meters on the way. He's even got an Ultra Cabinet on the way if he wanted to go that route. BCX looked like he's going to try and catch a Swarm House unaware, maybe drop on top of those, but he doesn't have many units over here. I think, is that what he's going to do? He's going to try to bypass them once again. I guess he's going to try to bypass them and go for the base itself. There's nothing over here, though. There's nothing over here but a hatchery and all of these Swarm Hosts.
Well, killing the Swarm Host would be nice, but I guess he's just donating those Marines for the time being, mistiming that drop, I guess. But one BCX is able to remax. He does have the Mineral Bank over 1 hit point, so BCX does have that going for him, but he just made the same army again, and if we just simplify this down, he just made this army and lost it over the past 45 minutes. So why would you make the same army again? I can't see the logic in that. Maybe... I'm not sure.
Well, he has a lot more Widow Mines now, I suppose.
Yeah,
he's up to 12 Widow Mines, so that's a factor, I suppose, now. But he still has to find a way to get those Widow Mines in a good location, actually get shots off. 1 HP has been controlling pretty well against Widow Mines to actually deal with those if he wants to. So if this continues, 1 HP is just going to eventually choke out BCX. It's continually trade against him, and BCX has no 6th base up anywhere. He's got a bunch of orbital commands sitting on full energy because they can't mule. All of his SCVs, all 70 of SCVs almost, are not actually mining. He's got 2 SCVs that are mining gas over at that 5th. He's got 1 SCV over in the 3rd that is mining gas. He's got nothing going on over at the 4th base, and he's just no income. No income at all. He's just going to go for it.
He has 9 orbitals. I wonder why he didn't just choose to spread those out and put SCVs there. I mean, even, yeah, if like the meters show up, that's going to be annoying, but if the meters show up in your base, that's a sign sweet. I can load up 4 medevacs and send them across the opposite side of the map because the meters are in my base. That means they're not defending his base, right? So, that was a big stim there out of BCX as well. That was fairly needless there. He is going to be moving out, but what does he expect this to achieve? What do you do?
You don't do really anything against this. He actually put 1 Widow Mine directly next to this foremost, so that's kind of annoying. He picked up the 4. That's about it. He's gonna be just trying to I suppose, almost base trade, and try and use the fact that he has all these orbitals remaining that he can actually just lift off and replace, 70 SCVs worth of mining. I guess, but the Widow Mines, if they actually start connecting with things, they're going to start connecting with the SCVs themselves. If the Locust even take a shot of the Widow Mine and it bring down the health of some of these SCVs, the Swarmers are back here. They're ready to defend now, and BCX has to get these Widow Mines out front to actually deal with the Locust, and then he has to pounce immediately because otherwise he's got nothing.
Yeah, oh my god, this is such a strange engagement. There's a lot of Marines here, though, for BCX. He has 62 Marines, 50 SCVs. He has a very swarmy army, but he's got to bring the Widow Mines with him as well, otherwise these Swarm Hosts can just endlessly kite backwards, I think. So many shots going down on these Marines, and the SCVs are just sat there. They're not doing anything. They should be aim moving. Yeah, oh no, everything's dying here for BCX.
I think he just got a little bit, I suppose, impatient, but 46 minutes into the game and you don't see an out for yourself. 70 SCVs are about to die. Okay, 67 SCVs do die. And there we go. Finally, the GG from BCX. 1 HP will take game number 1 here in this best of 3 series. And this is just match 1 of plenty to come. That could be like this,
So if you didn't know what 1 hit point was like, now you know what 1 hit point is like.
Yeah. Yeah. The next map is Catalina, so
maybe a little 2 Raxes in a row. Can we make a request?
Maybe, possibly. What an insane game 1. Wow. Oh, was that him earlier or was that you recently?
What?
I don't know. The game lasted for a lot longer period of time than I was expecting it to last. Especially
me and 1 hit point
opened.
had a long game, if that's what you meant.
Yeah, well, yeah. I feel like BCX could have won a lot earlier if he just actually attacked intelligently with all of those Hellions from the blue flame
I think
opener.
that build order. Yeah, that was a cool build order, but I think it was kind of ad lib on the fly. You don't really have the money for that kind of production that early on, and he had, I think, 15 Hellions that he was attacking with. But I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
There was a lot of Hellions, and they could have been Hellbats. When they were initially engaging with all of those Queens, when they were actually just sitting there as Hellions, if he just transforms those into Hellbats, he probably kills the Queens a little bit faster. Then he can go back into Hellion mode um, and actually go for the drones, because that attack killed like 6 drones, and after that, 1 HP was already still at 72, so it didn't really do much of anything. It was a neat opener. It kind of forced 1 HP into having all those Swarm Hosts, but I mean, the Swarm Hosts did nothing from minute 15 to minute 30, but after that, they were kind of the MVPs of that game. So, Muta Swarm Host is apparently a composition.
Yeah, it's definitely a good composition, but normally you see it against mech. It's something that Soulkey originally populated back in like the Frost type map era. So it's really strong, but I don't know. Like, yeah, even in the middle of that game, we saw the Spire come down at like 14 minutes, and then the Mutas popped out at 19 minutes. And there was this awkward gas bank up for 5 minutes straight where BCX was dropping all over the place and looking really on point, and then I don't know. That game was strange. It's hopefully we'll see some improvements in game 2.
Right. At least this map lends itself to actually being able to use Reapers, so perhaps we can see something with that to open with at least. Force a little bit of early game engagements rather than nothing coming up from BCX, but it is still going to be up to him to actually decide to do that. We are into game number 2, into map number 2, and spawning the left side here of Catalina. In pink from CT6, he is up 1 game. It is 1 HP for the win.
And to the bottom right of Catalina, spawning in as the best colored Terran, it is BCX 14 best slots. I know he has different builds, and I think he's going to be mixing it up this game. But he is down 1-0, so he's going to have to pick a really solid build that's not like too gimmicky, because he can't just have a stupid loss, because then he's in the losers match.
Yeah, I think you were talking about this Friday, I think it was, talking about if you do have, you're down to game 2, or if you're down a map, or you're down to the last game, you're going to have your best build. You're not going to be trying something new, trying something cheesy necessarily that you're not necessarily as comfortable with. You can't lose. Granted, in BCX, it's not like if he loses this game, he's absolutely eliminated, but he will fall down to the losers match, and that's not where he wants to be. Obviously, he doesn't want to start off this group losing, so he wants to be able to win this game. He wants to force into a game 3 and then go from there, perhaps pull something out. But for the time being, he is at least opening up with the barracks this game. But as you were mentioning, it looks like he is going to be going for a gasless opener. So still, no Reapers. No Reapers going to be coming out in this game. And once again, 1 HP he's gonna be able to draw up happily.
Yeah, if 1 hit point's done his research, he might just do something like a 3 hatch before pull, which you can do against a 1-Rex gasless expand. It's going to get a little hairy maybe, but you can pull that kind of stuff off. So I think he's probably just going to opt for the spawning pool here very shortly though, so nothing too crazy from 1 hit point either. So from BZX's point of view, he has some builds like Hellbats and Combat Shield timing pushes, which he does do off of the 1-Rax gasless, so we might be seeing something like that coming out of him, but I mean, we gotta wait and see for him to just decide, I'm gonna take gas now, I'm gonna throw down barracks now for 3rd CC if and when he decides to make that. Gotta wait for these decision trees to come down.
Yeah, we do have 1 Marine on the way so far, but I think this is one of those things where perhaps you catch an Overlord. We saw that in some games on Friday night where Marines went hunting, they got an Overlord. They ended up getting 2 Overlords eventually. It's always an annoyance early on for Zerg player. But 1 HP, good pathing on his first Overlord. He's not going to cut out. He sees that Marine. He sees the command center as well, so he knows what he's facing up against right now. He knows there's no Reaper on the map, just going to be Marines. Once again, he is going for 6 Lings regardless, so I guess it's just part of his build is going for those 6 Lings. He does have 2 Queens on the way, but he could have a few more drones if he wanted to actually use those on something useful other than these 6 Lings, which are honestly going to be able to not going to be able to do anything for a little bit.
It gives him some kind of light map control, I guess, until the gas units of BCX pop out, be it Hellions or medevacs. So that's something nice for one hit point. He knows that he can just drone quite safely behind this, having not seen any Reapers, seen the Marines, seen the expansion from BCX, so he can just kind of sit and chill for a couple of minutes. He's actually gonna. That's why he made the Lings. He's he's defending his Overlord. So nice focus fire by BCX. He will take out one of the Lings at least, so that's a little something for his trouble.
Now, he does lose 2 of those early Marines. This is a pretty big annoyance. I mean, it's not like it's going to kill him or anything, but I mean, he does only have a single Marine right now. So if there were an Overlord coming in from 1 HP, which this Overlord should eventually be coming in, there's not going to be as many Marines to go up there and shoo it away and keep it from scouting. But pretty safe and standard opener from BCX, going for these double racks behind the factory before any Hellions even come out. I guess we're going to see a couple of Hellions at least, even though those are going to be extremely late. So I'm not sure if he's going to take map control. He's just going to make Widow Mines. Okay, it is going to be a couple of Hellions at least, so he can try and push out and maybe deny a little bit of creep. But 1 HP already with a 3rd base on the way, already with 3 extra creep queens spreading creep freely. He's going to have an amazing amount of map control early on in this game.
Yeah, it will be BCX's combat shield timing this game by the looks of things. So he has the money right now to throw down the armory behind this as well and do a very nasty push in a couple of minutes' time. Else this gas is just kind of floating in the ether. He could well opt for the starport as well. But once again, he's opted for the 2 and 2 in gas, which is... It's more optimal than 3 and 1, I know that much.
Yeah. And also, 1 HP gets in here and he's going to see double gas. Maybe not expect this to be... especially if he's able to actually get in and see the tech lab on the barracks. And seeing that researcher, you're not going to think that's combat shield. That's not going to be your thought. You're going to think, okay, you're getting stem, whatever, that's fine. You've got a little bit of time. The Baneling Nest has been thrown down here by 1 HP, but how much gas is he going to want to use on those Banelings? How much gas is he going to want to sink into defense before he actually sees it? Luckily for 1 HP, he does have a good amount of vision at the front of B6's base. He can see a move out. Actually, he won't see a move out. Really well, good decision there by B6 to go from the right side. He has to have known that Overlord was still sitting there. He's going to take a really interesting path around, probably expecting to see maybe some Lings out front here, and he wants to get over across to 1 HP's area of the map without being scouted at all. He wants to just show up unannounced, no Banelings made, no Banelings ready, and take out this 3rd base perhaps, and maybe even do a little bit more damage than that.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 Banelings from BCX, for BCX to deal with rather, but they'll be having to attack Marines and Hellbats off of creep without Baneling speed, so BCX is going to have no problems whatsoever as Combat Shield finishes up for this timing push. The Hellbats transform, and 1 hit point, he's pretty in the dark, but he is building a bunch of Lings and Banelings himself, actually, so I think he knows something's coming.
The Banelings do roll in, actually getting really nice connections, pretty poorly controlled by BCX, honestly. He lost most of his push in that initial attack by 1 HP for the win, and now 1 HP has some Queens here. Queens are pretty good units, and with Transfuses, he should be able to clean this up pretty easily, and that went about as poorly as I possibly could there for a Terran player. He lost absolutely everything to 5 Banelings, I think, total. And now there's a 3rd base. We got the worker count is even, but there is. I mean, the 3rd command center to finish for BCX. He wasn't all in off this necessarily. He does have the transition available. He's got stem on the way, about halfway finished. But still, it's going to be difficult for him to take his own 3rd base. He's got a good amount of Widow Mines, however, so he's going to be able to be defensive. If 1 HP were trying to go for some sort of bust or something like that, which it doesn't seem like he's going to be doing, he has finished up 1-1. His lair is about halfway finished right now, so perhaps he was looking for some sort of timing, but it looks like he may just be wanting to go directly into 2-2 for his upgrades. I mean, we saw last game, he was very on top of his upgrades and keeping those rolling the entire game, and that was a really nice advantage for him.
Yeah, so even though that attack kind of failed for BCX, he does get his 3rd landed and secured, rather unharassed so far, but he only has like a few Marines out on the map defending this 3rd base. You've got to rely on these mines getting good shots, because these medevacs are all loaded up and dropping. So I think once the medevacs start dropping, his 3rd base is going to be a lot more secured, as these Lings are going to have to be pulled back into the main and towards the 3rd base as well, probably.
So the single drop here in the main base, really nicely positioned there by BCX. He's going to be trying to take out a lot of these Lings as much as he can, but he does get surrounded, those Marines, being a little too aggressive moving forward there. They did force away the mining type. He did kill off a few SCVs as well. The Spire is on the way here, but there's another bit of a, I guess I'm not sure if that's a run by or if he's just kind of looking for a fourth hatchery right now as BCX, but just one, not even a full drop of units worth over on the right side. Looking for what damage they can do, and still this drop is available on the left. He just landed that. He's healing it up. He's waiting to jump back into the main base as soon as he possibly can. And BCX is going to spend a little bit of time just jumping back and forth between bases, at least until that Spire is finished, and see what damage he can get done in this regard.
He's certainly going to get a lot of lost mining time from one hit point side of things, as we got around 20 Marines total being dropped between these bases, and this is starting to get really annoying. The Spire, the Mutas aren't going to be out for another full minute or so, so one hit point's just got to survive with basically Queens is his only anti-aid, pulling drones in the main base, losing so many drones right now. The drones in the natural are just getting completely gunned down. 12 already going down, but the main layer is being focused down right now, and there's nothing here to defend it. Oh my god, he's going for the Spire now?
He's just going for anything at all. There's no bandings actually to speak of. There's a couple that rolled into the main base and cleaned up that drop finally. But 13 workers are gone down. This third base is still under fire. The Queens are trying to focus down the medevac, which they do eventually do, but he does lose 2 Queens. Actually, both Queens had full energy almost as well, so he could have been transfusing. He didn't do it. These Marines are still alive. He's going to lose another Baneling to this even. And still, there's a single Marine left, and he's going to maybe get a couple more kills. He doesn't quite kill it. Drones do get in there and do save the day, but 16 workers killed.
And there's another drop back in the main.
Oh, goodness.
Widow mines in this one, so I mean, the friendly fire is going to be real because the surround is already pretty tight there from one hit point. But positioning once again from BCX is solid, and one hit point's only afforded to make 5 Muses. He doesn't have the lava by the looks of it to make any more, and there's a parade push now going towards the third base once again, and BCX is up 50 supply. He just started dropping and didn't stop. The Mana Mules in the natural just because he dropped a scan to land those Mana Mules. What a boss.
I mean, at this stage of the game, you have to know you're in a pretty good spot. You've basically decimated the main base. The lair has gone down. He can focus down the Spire if he wants to. Widow Mine shot's actually going off on the larva, killing a couple Marines, but 1 HP will have to tap out there. So BCX, with the multitasking, is able to take game number 2 and even up this series 1-1. So we will be moving into map number 3, which is Von E Research Station. So another map that I do believe 1HP is a fan of.
Oh yeah, you can just sit back and chill and get Swarm Host going. But that being said, it's a pretty nice map for BCX's style as well. He likes that kind of a little bit non-standard openers into macro play with very heavy drop mid games. That's his kind of Terran style against Zerg, and he demonstrated it perfectly well that game. I mean, yeah, his original push with the Hellbats was kind of nah, but didn't really matter by the looks of it. It was more of like a token gesture. Here's what's to come, says BCX.
Once again, BCX, I'm not sure what he takes a little bit of break between each game. I suppose it's a good idea. I know sometimes when I get into a series, I just play the games over and over, and I don't really stop to maybe calm my hands down, calm the adrenaline down a little bit, breathe a little, maybe think about exactly what you're planning to do for the next game. But we are in our lobby. Vondi, I mean, with that right alleyway leading from natural to natural, I mean, BCX, he loves dropping, and that's going to lend itself to that very well, but it's still really easy to scout coming. So unless BCX decides to actually throw some Vikings, which we haven't seen him do yet, to clear out those overlords, 1HP, he could defend it, but we just saw him have a lot of trouble defending drops. I think he just expected to get into a later game a little bit undefended. He was a little bit unsafe trying to get there. He didn't have any banelings made. He didn't have a Spire until a really long time. Going for the upgrades as quickly as he did delayed that Spire for a little bit of a longer period of time. So despite the opening from BCX, putting no pressure on 1HP, letting 1HP do what he wanted, I think maybe he got a little bit lackadaisical about how he had to defend.
Seems like one hit point's comfort zone is definitely a little bit after BCX's comfort zone in terms of the timeline of ZVT. He's got to wait for the Musa Cloud to build up, and then he can get the Swarm Hosts out, and then he can sit and camp, and that's his playground. That's where he knows all the ins and outs. So GCX just put his foot down before that even happened in Game 2, and I think he should probably do something like that for Map 3 as well.
Yeah, I'm
We are
curious to
loading
see
into.
if 1HP actually has anything early game related, like an early build, an early bust, something like that. Or if he's
Works
nothing
well.
but a macro player, but I haven't really seen much from him in that regard, so maybe this can work on this map. It is a really difficult map to go for an early bust, but it also kind of lends itself to the Terran player is going to wall off at his main with his first buildings, producing buildings, so there's not going to be a bunker up there necessarily. So if you go for like an early Roach Bane attack, you can take out, depending on where he spawns, actually either way you spawn, you're going to get the building up front, but you can still take out 2 depots and not have to deal with the bunker out front. So it could lend itself to a bust, it could lend itself to just going for a macro game with the wait and see.
Yeah.
We are into our game here and spawning up in the top of our map here. From CT6, our pink Zerg player, it's 1 HP for the win.
And once again, in the Terran. Start that again. Take 2. In the bottom right corner of it's BCX down the bottom. He's red. It's Terran. Bear sloths. Abandoned ship, boys.
Abandoned ship, indeed. No worries. No worries. What is it? No, it's only what? 7 for you right now? 'Cause you're
It's not
forward?
even late, dude. I've got no excuse.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know. You're kind of... No, it doesn't. That still doesn't make sense. Because if you are on American time, it's mid-afternoon right now.
Yep, I have no excuse. The run's gone as well, so maybe that's the reason why. I don't know. I did Roach Bane BCX on this map in these positions actually to your earlier point, so it certainly is a known thing that can work against BCX. Whether one hit point knows that's a thing, I'm not sure. Depends how well his research has gone.
Yeah, looking like B6 once again going to be going for a gasless opener. So both players looking to be setting up the same way as they always have, but BCX so far has been the player with more than one build, and of course I say gasless, and there we go, gas on 13 of all things. So BCX will be able to go for a factory a little bit quicker than he has been in the first 2 games. Still, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to really try and call what he's going to do, because he's done some interesting things already. I mean, 3 factory Blue Flame Hellion Hellbat?
Yeah,
Mostly Hellion?
his Blue Flame thing. Yeah, it's like the Blue Flame upgrade always kind of looks strange, especially on the Hellbats. It looks like they just kind of stick a hosepipe on the top instead of a flamethrower. It doesn't quite look as impressive to me, I guess. I don't know. So this is a 13 gas, and he's opted straight for the Reaper. So I wonder why he didn't just go for the 12 gas. Maybe that's like an afterthought or a forget-all type thing. And now he's got 2 in gas, so maybe it is planned.
Huh.
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah, that's. I don't know. I think as soon, maybe he's going up to 50 gas. And he's gonna pull. No, well,
No,
he's
it's
going back
going
to
back
gas
in.
now. So he's adding a second Reaper. Well, that kind of makes sense. I suppose it means he's gonna have these nicely timed 50 gas windows. You can just continue producing Reapers, or you can go for a reactor if you wanted to do that. I guess that's a possibility. I don't know. He should be able to go to a factory directly after this second Reaper, so it's pretty much the same exact timing, just a little bit quicker on the minerals. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. It's the same setup, but it's just a little bit different with the Reaper. It's just pretty much it. Maybe he just decided 5 seconds late that he wanted to do a Reaper, or one of those situations where you're like, I'm gonna go Reapers, and then you forget to make your gas on 12.
Yeah, it's a dangerous position to be in a tournament where you let that voice in the back of your head say, hey, we should do this thing, it'll be great. Sometimes that works out fantastically, and sometimes it doesn't. So hopefully BCX isn't in that kind of position, but we are just seeing him with the reactor, the factory. He might well set himself up for a 3rd CC soon, looking at how his money is going, but he could well just opt for the 3 Raxes. But there is the 3rd CC, and actually that's kind of positioned in a way that might float over to the gold base.
Yeah, considering where that is, I wouldn't be surprised to see him do that. He's definitely a fan of his mineral units. We didn't see really any Marauders in game number 1 at least, and I don't think we saw any in game 2 either. There's just a lot of Hellions and a lot of Marines, so going for that gold base, going to let him produce a lot more the Marine count and to continue with these Hellions as well. If he wanted to do that, he is going to be switching over into the Hellion production, and kind of the geometry, I guess, maybe, terrain of this map getting out these Hellions earlier. He's going to be able to deny these Queens getting down the ramp for a little bit of time. Maybe actually be able to keep 1 HP from moving down his ramp, keep him a little bit contained with as few units as possible, simply because you can't really fit that many Queens down that ramp too quickly. It's kind of difficult to do so because they are very large individuals. 1 HP has seen the 3rd Command Center with his Overlord, so he knows that's there. He doesn't know anything else about the tech right now, which is looking like it's going to be Banshees.
We haven't yet seen Banshees come out from BCX this series, I believe. So this is new, and he's still got a lot of gas banked up. So he could drop down the cloak right now, and probably he might even throw down the armory, which is a nice combo build. Yeah, there's going to be an armory. Come on, calling it now. Armory, give armory. No, okay, there's no armory. The hype is unreal.
It's Dream Bay. Never mind. So he's just looking to go for melee upgrades, but still have a pretty nice force with the Banshees and the Hellions, which is, I mean, it's a nice setup. It's not definitely not a bad thing. He can still be really aggressive with the units he has. If he wants to go for a combat shield first, that's even stronger push if you want to do that. But he is going to be going for stim,
yes.
Perhaps going for +1. Oh, where is it? Oh, there it is.
It's an armory. Yes, sick. Either I was late or he was early. No, he was late or I was early. I don't know. But it's a really crazy little timing push you can get with Hellbats. But he's going to be adding Widow Mines to this as well. BCX is just kind of making Terran things right now. There doesn't seem to be a direction apart from a lot of units in the direction of the Zerg, which is, I guess, the right way to play. So that's pretty cool. I wonder if 1 hit point has figured out what the hell's going on there. What's he scouted? He's seen a 3rd command center and that's it? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, this Banshee is flying into the natural right now, and it's completely unscattered. Cloak is available, so the Queen is going to be under a lot of fire. No Spore Crawlers available. The Lair is going to be finishing up here in just a second, so we can actually make an Overseer pretty soon. Kind of luckily / unluckily, most of 1 HP's Overlords are actually back home. They're not on the map, so they can actually turn into an Overseer and be helpful. The Transfusers are going to go down for quite a long time. Is there a Spore Crawler anywhere yet? No. No Spore Crawlers. He's just going to be relying on this Overseer that's being made. The Transfusers will keep the Queens alive, but it did deny a little bit of mining time for a short period of time there in this natural base. And it did force some focus from 1 HP to be on that natural rather than anywhere else. And once again, he still has no idea what he's actually facing yet. He hasn't scouted anything other than now he sees a lot of Hellions and some Widow Mines. So he may be once again thinking this is going to be a mech play, but more and more barracks coming down here for BCX, and Stim is just about to finish up, and he's looking to go for this 3rd base.
Yeah, he's actually purposefully keeping all of these Marines back at home by the looks of things. He might be just keeping them there for a drop to move out later in the game, but I like how he's keeping it in the dark about whether this is mech or bio as long as possible. That's really cool, especially given 1 hit point's lack of scouting. But we're going to have a nice bit of multi-prong pressure here. Widowmine, Hellbat, Reaper, Banshee is the units of choice on the right side there, but all the Widowmines completely whiffed, so it's just going to be Hellbats and the reinforcing Widowmines here.
The Bandits crash in and take out pretty much all those Hellbats. There's only 2 remaining. The last 2 Widowmine shots go off on Larva, and they don't even kill the Larva. So there's really nothing left over here. The Widowmines are here, but that's really about it. The drop is into the natural base now. The Marines are here, and they do have stim available. There's a couple of Widowmines as well, but those Widowmines do not burrow. 7 workers have gone down. If he actually just moves those Widowmines forward, no, he doesn't do it. He's going to pick up and let the Lings kill, but good control there by 1 HP. He forces a little bit of friendly fire damage onto the medevac itself. Widowmines are still down here at the 3rd base. They can just move in. Perhaps if 1 HP isn't paying attention, he can just B6 will be able to move those Widowmines into the drone line. Maybe if these Queens walk away for a split second, this can get a ton of kills. He's going to move those now, and they're going to need kills. They should get a few. Or actually, he's kind of put those in an awkward spot. No, really kind of poor position. I think he's a little bit too afraid of that.
Killed by 8 Banelings, the first one. All of the Banelings in the natural went down, and then 4 drones as well. He does get the drone, or the Widow Mines in the 3rd base, but, I mean, the dropping of BZX has begun.
Yeah. I think we're going to see BCX let up on these drops for a good 6 or 7 minutes at least, and then once he lets up on drops, he's just going to prey push across the mapping. He's got his 3rd base landed. It's not at the gold. he is putting it down at the regular base location, but with that third base landed, if he actually starts putting some SCVs over there, he is pretty light on the SCV count. He just needs to actually make some more of those and continue rolling up his economy a little bit better. But as it stands, he is just going to continue dropping all over the place. Is there a Spire? Okay, there's got to be a Spire because he's got the attack upgrade on the way.
It's like, yeah, but there's only 3 Muses, and they're kind of all just randomly scattered. There's 3 now just congregating towards the middle of the map, but there's going to be only another 7, or 7 total rather, so that's not very many Muses, and the drops are on the right side, the drops are on the left side, there's a push in the middle of the map. This is going to get really painful for 1 hit point. He's actually losing Overlords and Overseers on the right side of the map, so he's supply blocked during all of this. Oh man.
He may even lose a couple of these Overseers if he's not really careful. The main force is over at this 4th base location. Most of it's actually sitting in the medevacs. He needs to drop those out. The meters are rolling in here, but they're at such low numbers, they're going to get shredded immediately. The 4th base, I'm not even sure if that got canceled necessarily. I don't think there's any banelings remaining right now for our Zerg player, and he's trying to make units. He's got 6 meters on the way, but those aren't going to do anything against his force, and he's going to have to... I'm assuming that's supposed to be GG. Girlfriend. Yeah, he said girlfriend, not get something. But he does call GG there, so BCX will move on into the winner's match here. So that's going to be it for match number 1. That game 1, man. That game 1. It started this whole day off pretty ridiculously. Just to go into 2 games that BCX really just kind of rolled in.
It looked kind of like a different player from both sides, I think. Game 1 was really in favor of 1 hit point, and BCX kind of looked confused, and then the tables completely flipped for maps 2 and 3, where BCX's pain train started rolling out, and it never stopped. It was just really well played by him.
Yep. So we are going to take a short break and we're going to get the map vetoes for our next series, which is going to be Tux versus Canary, TVT. We're going to be starting it up as soon as we possibly